Nearly 3 years in prison. Casey Anthony, found not guilty, what, 2 weeks ago? Is out of jail. This is her, I think, last night leaving jail. And, of course, she needs a guy with a submachine gun to protect her.
Yeah, because she's got a lot of death threats after she was acquitted in about murdering her child. As she left in an SUV, some of the crowd yelled, "Baby killer," as she pulled away. It's not clear where she will stay or what she will do next, but what is clear is that many believe she got away with murder. Some security experts say she's now going to have to stay low in a safe house for a while. Joining us right now, security expert and Fox contributor Beau Dietl and defense attorney Peter Frankel, who just had one of his clients released, Plaxico Burress.
I follow his tweets. He's enjoying his freedom very much, isn't he?
He sure is, and he can't wait to get back on the football field either.
So listen, I mean, not that Plaxico was in the same category as Casey Anthony, but there was a gun involved, and, you know, he shot himself, but how do you go about and repair your image after something that's so high profile?
Well, when you have somebody like Plaxico or a client that's released from prison, and you can argue that they've been rehabilitated, they paid their debt to society, they express remorse, and they're back in the community doing community-based sort of things, it's a lot easier. When you have someone like Casey Anthony, who only the 12 jurors thought is not guilty, it's virtually impossible.
And she had no public profile before this. There's no rehabilitating her image based on her post-arrest behavior and maybe her pre-arrest behavior. Maybe she did it, Beau. What about her security, though? That's one thing that we can control.
Well, you know, to compare Plaxico, let's face it, I felt sorry for Plaxico. I mean, he shot himself. He wasn't involved in negligent homicide of a little girl.
Totally different.
And I mean, that this mother, alleged mother here, was totally involved. Her image now, like we were talking about last night, they were offering $1 million for her to do interviews now. It's at a point where our society is so, the only word I can use is regurgitatious. When you're talking about
regurgitatious.
Yeah, it means
what
it gets you sick. It gets you sick when you got people offering this girl $1 million, and then they treat her like this with these machine guns, helicopters.
But meanwhile, who's paying for her security? Are we paying for her security?
All what you just saw there was paid by the state of Florida. And I would say, you know what they should have done? They should have done like every other prison, let her out the back way, all right, off time, and let her get out of there. Because why do we have to need helicopters, machine guns? Who's coming in there? Army invading?
You know, I'm not going to second guess the security. There are a lot of death threats. They provided security. There's no rehabilitating her image ever. But for the rest of her life, I think she's at risk, isn't she?
Well, you know, and she's always going to be, because you always got the nut that's sitting there with nothing to lose and has no job or really down and saying to herself, look at this, she got away, now she's getting $1 million, I'm going to get her. You got those nuts that percolate at home watching TV, and this becomes their stage for them to stage time.
Peter Frankel, I know you say it's going to be very difficult for her to rehabilitate her image, but you look at people like O.J. Simpson, also in a very heinous, you know, murder. This guy went on. He was still the talk of the town.
Wait a second. O.J. never rehabilitated his image.
O.J. got jobs after that.
He got $800,000, Greg, and he spent it, and he wouldn't even give it back.
This
and
is not the same thing.
Peter,
This is not
is it
the same thing.
I think he rehabilitated himself for a couple of months, and then I think he found himself back in prison again, where I think he is now.
Yeah,
how do you rehabilitate yourself when you murdered 2 people?
But listen to me, we live in a different world, Peter. You know, the standards that we had growing up are not the standards that exist now.
Right.
He's going to get it. She may get her own reality show.
Time is the great equalizer for her, and I think she's going to disappear for a while. She's going to come back. There are going to be some more sensational cases that are going to kind of take the focus off of her, and she's going to slowly, I think, slip back into society.
We've had prominent journalists have had to say, no, I don't want to interview her. I refuse to interview her. She's not going to be able to market this in any effective way. She's going to have to lose her identity. She's going to have to change her face, and she's going to have to disappear.
But what Peter says is true. Time heals this kind of stuff. And in a year, 2 years from now, she'll just blend right back in. Oh, there is Casey Anthony and all that kind of stuff. As far as I'm concerned, you know, she's going to blend into it. She's not the #1. She's not Bin Laden. I mean, let's face it. She got away with something that we all disagree with, but the jury did a good job because they did convict her on what they thought was the right, proper evidence. So you cannot knock that jury. And as far as I'm concerned, we got to move on. This is not an important factor in our country right now, worrying about her. We should be worrying about our budget and our jobs. Well, this is important stuff.
We're still worried about that as well. I mean, these for whatever reason, they captivate us, these cases. They do. They do.
It doesn't captivate me.
Oh, get lost, Beau. You've been talking about, I see you on cable TV, talking about it night and day. Day and night. No.
All I was listening last night to the Judge Janine there.
Yeah.
And they had this guy Padilla on there, this bounty hunter. He's there with some new evidence. I mean, all this airtime.
Okay, Beau, we'll have you come on and talk about the budget. Right.
Well, you want
the debt ceiling.
You want to know
Republican...
something? When you got military guys coming back, it's up near 14% of unemployment. To me, that's an important issue. With this girl, she got away with something.
But listen to me, she got away with something, and whatever. No, it's not, because Peter, I totally disagree with you. I think that she will find some way to make a living, and it's going to be off the backs of the taxpayers, because, you know, we live in a different world.
Well, I think that she's going to have some very good people around her. She's going to have to make some very smart choices. I think that she's going to have to be handled very carefully. She better get herself into therapy real quick.
Playboy passed on it. I think Penthouse is open, and also one of those other skin magazines.
All right, maybe something like that. But no mainstream media is going to embrace her.
Somebody is offering her $1 million to sit down and spill her guts, right,
do an
Peter?
interview.
I mean, come on.
Yes, and she's going to take it eventually, over time. Right now,
you'll see sponsors boycott that, right? That's not going to be on Fox News. That's not going to be on ABC.
No, they're talking about having it over in Europe. This guy wants to do
sure. The guy who pays money for interviews.
And you know, over there, they'll say, ooh la la, let's throw it on TV, and they'll get some advertising.
Well, having said that, we'll watch. We will.
I'm not going to watch, Greg. I'm a little busy to watch this
You turn your back on the TV.
You're going to watch it. You'd rather not go out there and do something progressive?
Quite frankly.
You're going to watch this girl?
I'm flipping around the dial.
I'm surprised at that.
I knew this was going to happen.
I'm really surprised at that.
Would you knock it off?
You
don't be that.
You're a Marine. You're a Marine.
No kidding. Yeah, you're going to question.
So act like one now, please. Don't be telling me you're going to watch.
Don't act like one.
Don't tell me about Kelly Yancey.
Don't tell me you don't care about this case.
Please,
just let them go at it.
Well, hold on. Last word, Mr. Frankel.
No, listen, I think that over time, you're going to see that she's going to come back into society. I think what she's going to do is she's going to say, look, I'm remorseful because maybe I wasn't the best mother, maybe I made some mistakes, but this woman was found not guilty. She can't come back now and say, like, you know, I'm sorry for what I did. She didn't do anything. She was found not guilty. So she's going to have to portray herself as maybe not the best mother in the world, but somebody who's going to come back into society. And, you know, over time.
Rosanna, what do you think?
I think that she's probably going to be our next reality star.
No way.
I'm telling you,
she'll get money from an interview.
We live in a crazy world.
She'll get money from an interview, but she's not going to make recurring money. She's not going to be a celebrity.
Honestly,
no way.
I think you got to hang out a little bit with me, a little more, instead of watching this on TV at night. You probably watch TMZ every night.
Why are you rallying him up? What's wrong with
because
you?
of Friday, I won't forget about him on Friday.
I can't.
You want to give up the guys having a couple of beers? Come on, Greg.
What are you talking
about?
Remember
Friday? You said you would give me up if I had a couple of beers with you.
Before the show?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I think you may have had a few beers before the show.
I was on Imus. I had no
something.
beers.
Just kidding, Beau Dietl. Nice to see you. But I would watch, and so would you. You know you would.
How's Plaxico doing, quickly?
He's doing great.
What is he up to?
You know what? The collective bargaining agreement is going to get resolved this week. They're going to be back to football. There's going to be 2 weeks of crazy free agency. He's going to sign a beautiful contract with a great team.
Can you give us an idea?
You know, I think.
Come on, give us a little tip.
You know, you've heard.
Come on, break your code of ethics. Forget that attorney-client stuff.
You've heard Eagles, you've heard Jets, a little bit of Rams,
even
maybe
Giants.
some Bears.
Yeah, and
Giants, I don't think is happening.
Oh, Giants are out.
Probably not going to happen.
I like Plexico, and I'm going to tell you something. I feel sorry for him because he did the full time, that guy. And I tell you, he's my man. He did his time. He did wrong. My respect to Plexico, and I mean that with all my heart.
And I say this in all sincerity. He's a great guy. A great guy.
We could go out with him. You and I, Greg, could hang out with him.
No, we like Plax. I think he got a raw deal, totally. And I think it was unfair. I think they put him in jail because he's famous.
3 years is a long time.
All right, Peter Frankel, Beau Dietl, thank you so much for being here. Okay.
Beau.